On the Singer Heavy Duty 4423 sewing machine, you're going to find that the accessories come right in the front of the machine. And I want to go through what comes with the machine so you know which ones we're going to use, where you can store them, and that there is actually one more foot even down here, not in the packet. This is your buttonhole foot. This one's really nice because you can actually put the button in the foot and it will do the exact size buttonhole that is needed for the button. So wonderful there. All right, so inside we have a pack of needles. Now one thing about needles is, and we're going to put a link over here, so right up here where you see that little eye popping up, that is a link to all of our needle videos. So there are different needles for different fabrics and also for different thicknesses of thread. Now just because it says Singer needles does not mean that you have to buy this brand. Needles for sewing machines are very universal, and so other brands will fit in this machine. But yes, you do have branded Singer needles with the machine, and it kind of looks like there's about a size 90-14, so a little bit bigger than normal, and there are 3 in the pack there. We also have 3 bobbins in this pack, and sometimes, let's see, yes, there's one extra one actually in the machine when it comes to you, and it is empty. So you do have a total of 4 bobbins. A note about bobbins, these are not a size that is for every size of machine or kind of machine. You do want to get the exact size that fits this machine. So if you got an older Singer, some of those bobbins were smaller, don't use them if they're not exactly this size. That is crucial for a machine to perform correctly. We do have a vertical spool pin that would sit up here in this opening. I'll talk about threads and which one you use based on what kind of thread you're putting on the machine. You do have the regular foot comes on the machine. You also have a zipper foot, and the zipper foot is actually where you can attach it to the left side or the right side. As you get started here, you'll be able to go down the different sides. We have a brush for cleaning. Oh, very important. We've got a video to help you make sure you keep this machine in top running condition. And if you take that out, that's a seam ripper, which, yes, we always need a seam ripper as we go about sewing. We also have a foot that is a button sew-on foot. It's the one with the little blue toes, and it holds the button. Kind of has some grippies on the underneath side, so the button doesn't go flinging off your fabric. It sits down, grips it, lets it sew on. Yes, you can sew buttons on with this machine. And then we also have 2 spool caps. I'm holding one here. This will be where when we put a spool on the machine where we lay it down, we'll put a spool cap that matches kind of the end part. But for example, if I've got a spool like this, see how it has more of just a cone shaped and an end, then I'm going to put something that is smaller. Sometimes I'll put it here, and depending on the spool, I can actually even kind of push it in a little bit. The key with spool caps is we just don't want to let the thread get tangled or caught between the two. So just when we push it on, make sure there's no gap between the spool and the cap. All right, we do have a little felt pad. Usually those would be put on the vertical spool pin up here, so when you do put threads on, that they don't go spinning away, kind of puts a little resistance on it. And this is actually a screwdriver. It's short for a reason, because when we go to take this throat plate off for cleaning underneath here, that's a very short screwdriver to get in and to be able to loosen those as we go. We also have one last thing. It's a seam guide. This is a guide that you can slide into the foot on the back and then almost have it so it will help you keep the perfect width of seam allowance. You notice there are lines on the throat plate, but eventually we run out of lines. So if you need a wider distance, or you're sewing down the middle of your fabric with some multiple rows of stitching, this can keep it so you don't have to draw all the lines. You can just draw one line and then follow by making consecutive perfectly parallel lines, including with decorative stitches, which we're going to get into all the decorative stitches that you have, and having fun with maybe some variegated threads. So let's go get into actually threading this machine, setting up the machine properly, and then also mastering your needle threader that is on this machine.